Hi everyone. So this is going to be my Guo Jia Animal Board Control deck profile video, or in short, Guo Jia Fledgling Spam. So here is the academic gamegenic deck box. It is a lot of stuff in this box, and it is specifically for my deck. This deck does use a whole bunch of tokens. So in addition to your 60 card main deck, your 12 card material deck, whatever sideboard you have, you also run a bunch of fledgling tokens. And technically, tokens are optional. They can be represented by anything, so you don't even need a whole bunch of fledgling cards. But because they are ally cards and they do um, rest and they do wake up, it's just easier to represent them with actual physical tokens. So I'm running a whole bunch of fledgling tokens, and this deck box is really, really huge for that. So I have the 60 card main deck, some other tokens. Um, the dual face cards can be represented by outside duplicate cards. So then that way you don't have to turn them around in the sleeve. And it is an official ruling for tournament play. So these are just like my extra dual module cards. And then the material deck plus 3 generated arcane blast and a whole bunch of fledgling tokens. And of course, you also have space for your sideboard and some dice. But yeah, I really like this gamegenic deck box for the purpose of storing a whole bunch of cards. These tokens will be a surprise for later. And of course, the material deck and the main deck. So I'm going to go over all the cards, and then I will explain how combos work, what you try to do for this deck. But basically, the game plan is to spam a whole bunch of fledglings out, and the fledglings will have intercept for the turn that you play them. So basically, they form an unblockable wall, or not an unbreakable wall. And then once you have enough fledglings, you can just go for game. But yeah, let's go through the deck profile video. And these will be a surprise, so I'll just put them to the side. These are the fledgling tokens. Let's go over the material deck first. So I'm going to go with a wind base, Spirit of Wind. On enter, draw 7 cards. Pretty self-explanatory. So why wind specifically? There are some key cards in this deck. One specific key card in this deck that uses wind element. So for the combo, I think that wind is the best element to use to enable you to get a bunch of fledglings out. Technically, you could use fire or water, but wind, I feel, is the best element for this combo. Okay, Guo Jia level 1. On enter, if you don't control a Fatestone Regalia, reveal all cards in your material deck, then put a Fatestone Regalia card with the lowest memory cost from among them onto the field. Guo Jia level 2. On enter, you may put 2 quest counters on Guo Jia if you don't draw a card. Lineage Release, negate target activation or trigger that targets a Fatestone or Fatebound object that you control. Guo Jia level 3. As long as you control a Shenju ally, this card costs 3 less to materialize. On enter, you may put 3 quest counters on Guo Jia. If you don't, recover 3. Fabled Azurite Fatestone. It has Immortal, Spell Shroud. At the beginning of your end phase, you may banish a card at random from your memory if you do draw a card. Whenever you banish a card from your memory, put a quest counter on your champion. And by resting this, you may remove 10 quest counters from your champion. If you do, wake up and transform Fabled Azurite Fatestone. And the fabled Azurite Fatestone transforms into Seiryu Azure Dragon. Spell Shroud, taunt, on attack choose one. Generate an Arcane Blast card and banish it. As long as it's banished, you may activate it ignoring its elemental requirements. Or Empower X+2, where X is the amount of Arcane Element cards in your banishment. Grand Crusader's Ring. Banish this card to draw a card. Portentous Tengu. On enter, put a quest counter on your champion. You can pay 3 to banish this card to draw a card into memory. Suspicious Concoction. Whenever your champion levels up, you may banish Suspicious Concoction. If you do, draw a card into your memory and recover 2. Faded Keepsake. On enter, draw a card. Important. If your champion would take 7 or more damage while you control 3 or more Fatestone or Fatebound objects, prevent all but 6 of that damage. Backup Charger. For 3, banish Backup Charger, summon a Power Cell token, rested, draw a card into your memory. Luxor's Map. This card costs 1 less to materialize if you have the Assassin class bonus, but you do not have Assassin class bonus. This card is just really good for the deck, so even if you don't get the cost reduction, it is still very worth it to play. Luxor's Map enters the field rested. By resting this card and banishing it, search your deck for a card and put it into your memory, then shuffle your deck. Activate this ability only at slow speed. And a Tariff Ring. Banish Tariff Ring until the end of turn. Players can't declare attacks unless they pay 2 reserve costs for each attack declaration. Activate this ability only during an opponent's recollection phase. So now let's go over these cards. Spirit of Wind, honestly, for the combo. Level 1 Guo Jia. So you want to reveal the Fabled Azurite Fates. Actually, technically, you reveal all of your material deck. And then you'll get the Fabled Azurite Fatestone into play. So the win con of this deck isn't really transforming the Fatestone into Seiryu. It is really using Seiryu as a cycling engine, so then you can find your combo pieces. So this Fabled Azurite Fatestone will, at the end of your turn, allow you to banish a card from your memory, and then drawing a card into memory. So basically you get that extra cycling power. You will get quest counters every time you banish a card from memory, and you could go into Seiryu if you wanted to, but the main purpose of Seiryu in this deck, or specifically the Fabled Azurite Fatestone before it transforms into Seiryu, is so that you can cycle through your cards to find your combo pieces, so then you can create a whole army of fledgling tokens. So this isn't really your win con, it's the engine that will help you to find your win con pieces. Level 2, Guo Jia. You may put 2 quest counters on Guo Jia if you don't draw a card. So again, you don't really need the quest counters as much. So when you go to level 2, you will most likely want to draw a card rather than put quest counters on Guo Jia. You could alternatively do want to put quest counters on Guo Jia for the purposes of transforming this Fatestone into Seiryu, so that when you do have the Shenju ally, you can go into level 3 for free. So if you do want to put quest counters on Guo Jia, this will help you later on in transforming the Fatestone into Seiryu, and then allowing you to go to Guo Jia level 3 for free instead of banishing 3 cards from memory. So depending on if you want to go into this for free, if you went into this for free, the Fatestone is already transformed, so you don't really need 3 more quest counters on Guo Jia, then you would just recover 3. If you have not transformed Seiryu, you could either put the quest counters on Guo Jia so then you can transform Seiryu later or recover 3, but most of the time you'll just want to recover 3 anyways, because Seiryu is not your win con. Grand Crusader's Ring for draw power. Portentous Tengu for draw power. And also technically it gives you a quest counter. It's not that important, but it's just in here mainly for draw power. Suspicious Concoction also for draw power. If your opponent is playing a deck that is hitting you early, you can just get this out, and then the next time you level up, cool, you heal too, but then you draw a card into memory, so this also gives you draw power. Faded Keepsake for draw power, and what is really important about this is that it's drawing a card on enter. So if you were to suppress this item, and then it would come back end of turn, it will then let you draw a card. But if your champion would take 7 or more damage while you control 3 or more Fate Stone or Fate bound objects, prevent all but 6 of that damage. So this really helps you to wall out your opponent in case they try to hit you for 30 at your champion, or 20 at your champion, or 12 at your champion. Anything that is greater than 6 will be reduced to basically 6 damage to your champion. So this is really good. Backup Charger also for draw power. Luxor's Map to find the specific combo piece that will help you to create the fledgling army. Terrafring. So this used to be a Purifying Thurible, but Purifying Thurible is now banned in standard format. Not technically banned, but it is an unreleased card. It will be coming out in the next set, and then it will be legal again. But after the recent banned and restricted lists, you can't use Purifying Thurible. So I've replaced a Terrafring, but I would replace this with Purifying Thurible. Either Terrafring or Backup Charger with Purifying Thurible once it comes out, because Purifying Thurible is really good. Okay, so now that we've gone over the material deck, let's go over the main deck. And again, I'm just going to organize the cards, and then I'll explain the combos right after. It's good that you'll see what the cards do before or like what the cards are before I explain the combo. So the first 3 cards I'm going to show you are not really needed for the combo, but they are really nice cards to have anyways. So I have 4 Baby Green Slime, 4 Peacock of Prosperity, and 4 Limitless Slime. So because you are playing one element, you can use Baby Green Slime, and because Guo Jia is a tamer, you do get the tamer bonus on your cards. So you can play Baby Green Slime at fast activation, and on enter suppress target item or weapon. So again, going back to Faded Keepsake, this is an item, and on enter draw a card. So if you have Faded Keepsake out, you can play Baby Green Slime, suppress the Faded Keepsake, and end of turn Faded Keepsake will come back in, getting you another card draw. So this is nice as just a way to get extra card draw and help you find your combo pieces. Peacock of Prosperity functions basically the same way. Class bonus, element bonus. So if you are a tamer, which Guo Jia is, and you are specifically level 3 Guo Jia, and you have Luxem element, whenever you reveal this card from your memory, you may put a card named Peacock of Prosperity from your memory onto the field. If you do, draw a card into your memory. So this isn't a really good effect, but once you do reach Luxem element and you reveal cards from your memory, and you do reveal Peacock of Prosperity, you basically draw a card into memory. Once you reveal it, you play it out. So it will help you a teeny bit to find your combo pieces. This isn't really that useful for the deck. This is useful, but not like essential. Limitless Slime is pretty good for getting rid of your opponent's attackers pretty early on, putting some extra pressure on them, and also it provides you a floating memory once you are level 1 or higher. But class bonus level 1 floating memory, class bonus level 2, Limitless Slime gets +1 attack and +2 life. Class bonus level 3, on attack put a buff counter on Limitless Slime. So this will help you to chip away at your opponent's allies. Basically, this thing will be big pretty easily. Just keep attacking into their allies with Limitless Slime, so then they won't be able to put pressure on you. And then that way you can find your combo pieces. I would say that these 3 cards are not too essential for the deck. You could cut them out if you wanted to, but this one will help you to get some extra cycling in. This one will also get you some extra cycling in, but later, once you get level 3. This one will give you floating memory, which is really appreciated, but it will also serve as a way to let you get rid of your opponent's allies. I'm just going to put these over on the side, and all the cards in this deck are 4 ofs, because 1, I really like consistency, and 2, because of the Fate Stone Regalia, you are able to pitch away your duplicates pretty easily. So consistency being 4 of for each card, I really like in this deck. The next 4 cards are all cards that have Intercept or Taunt. So there's Dreamy Unicorn. Has Intercept, on death, put a preparation counter on your champion. The preparation counter could be useful technically, but really you want this card in your deck for Intercept. Fluffy Shopkeep also has Intercept. On enter, you may banish 2 cards from your material deck if you do draw a card into your memory. So sometimes you could just use the on enter, so you get a little bit of more cycling early on. So you get rid of 2 cards in your material deck, and then you draw a card into memory. So this will just help you get earlier draws. Sunblessed Gazelle has Taunt. On enter, if your influence is 3 or less, draw a card and recover 3. And Sunblessed Gazelle gets plus X life, where X is the highest influence amongst your opponents. So again, this is really in this deck specifically for the Taunt. Any other bonus effects are just icing on the cake. Bedivere, Woodland Overseer. Bedivere has Taunt as long as you control another animal or beast ally. And surprise, surprise, all of your allies in this deck are animal type. So the Slimes, the Peacock, the Dreamy Unicorn, Fluffy Shopkeep, Sunblessed Gazelle, Bedivere, they're all animal types. Class bonus level 3. On death, put a buff counter on each animal and or beast ally you control. It is very important that they're animal specifically instead of beast, and I will go over why once I reach the card. Forest Cake. On enter, draw a card. Class bonus: whenever an animal or beast ally enters a field under your control, you may sacrifice Forest Cake. If you do, put a buff counter on that ally. And again, Baby Green Slime can also suppress Forest Cake, like if you don't have Fated Keepsake out. But if you do have Forest Cake out, you can suppress it with Baby Green Slime to draw an extra card, which is really nice. This will also let you put buff counters basically on any of your animal allies, which is really nice as well. Okay. Fate Stone of Progress. Guo Jia. On enter, put a quest counter on your champion. Guo Jia bonus: for 4, you can transform Fate Stone of Progress. Now, realistically, you never want to transform this card. You basically almost never want to transform this card. You want to play this card, so then on enter, you put a quest counter on Guo Jia, which is nice. But really, it's just meant to stay on the board and provide you with a Fate Stone count. So then that way, Fated Keepsake can help you to mitigate damage later. So basically, this was the Fate Stone that I decided to go for. It's nice because it gives you a quest counter. You aren't really trying to transform your Fate Stones, but the on enter is really nice. You could also Baby Green Slime to give yourself another quest counter if you want to. But this is primarily in this deck to just stay on field. And then once you have 2 other Fate Stones, and as well as the Fabled Azurite Fate Stone, then you would take 6 damage or less every time you would take damage. So yeah, this card, really don't want to transform it. But if you do want to transform it, for some reason, this is what it transforms into. It transforms into Airborne Squirrel. It's just a 2/3, so it's not really worth transforming into. I would just keep this as the Fate Stone object, and just having some Fate Stone objects on field will help you to mitigate damage later, provided, like, if they want to fireball you or if they wanted to hit you with a 20 damage, 30 damage attack, then this will just help you, especially against spell damage, large amounts of spell damage. Now you have Decompose, which is an interesting card to have, but I will explain the combo once I reach the point where I can explain the combo. But this is definitely one of your combo pieces. It's not the most essential combo piece, but it is a combo enabler. So what you really care about more than the main effect is that to activate this card, you have to sacrifice an ally. So the main effect is nice. You get to gather, but what you really care about is that you get to sacrifice an ally, specific, even at fast speed. But let's go over the effect. Gather X times, where X is the sacrifice ally's life total, life stat. So yeah, you get to gather, which is not really necessary for this deck, but what is necessary is that you get to kill your own allies at fast speed. Okay, and then you have the Primeval Ritual. As an additional cost to activate this card, sacrifice an ally, also at fast speed. This one costs 1 more, but you get to recur this over and over again. Return target wind element card from your graveyard to your memory. So, you could use this the first time, for example, get back Baby Green Slime. The second time you use it, you can just get back the last Primeval Ritual. And then the next time you use it, you can get back another Primeval Ritual. You just keep getting it over and over again. So this will allow you to do sacrifice, to get sacrifice triggers, basically turn after turn. Fate Stone of Heaven. On enter, destroy target non-champion object with memory cost 1 or less, or reserve cost 5 or less. So this is just really nice for removal. Again, you don't really want to transform your Fate Stones. Once this is on the field, you want to keep it really as a Fate Stone. And then this will help you with your Fated Keepsake. But it is also important to note that this is an item with a really strong on enter effect. If you do get this out, you can just play Baby Green Slime, suppress Fate Stone of Heaven, end of turn, Fate Stone of Heaven comes back in, and they get to destroy something else. So this is really nice. If you do want to transform it, and I do not recommend that you do, you do get a Heavenly Drake. It has Spell Shroud, Vigor, on death, recover 3. It's a 3/3. But yeah, I do not recommend that you transform it. I would just rather keep it as a Fate Stone. But what is also really nice about this card is its activated ability. So for 3, reveal all cards in your memory. If 3 or more Luxem element cards were revealed this way, transform Fate Stone of Heaven. Activate this ability only once per turn at slow speed. So I don't want to transform this card, but by paying 3 and revealing all cards in my memory, if 3 or more are Luxem, then this will transform. But if 2 or less are Luxem, which is the important part, then it will not transform, but it will allow you to reveal your cards in memory for 3 cost. So if you have 1 or 2 Luxem cards that you want to reveal for their triggers, you can pay 3, you reveal them, and then you get their triggers. but this will not transform. If you do have a second copy of this card and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I don't really care if this card transforms or not because I still have another Fate Stone of Heaven, then sure, go for it. You can pay 3, reveal as many Luxem cards from your memory as you want to. Basically, reveal all of the cards in your memory, but just load that thing up with so many Luxem cards that you get a bunch of triggers. But yeah, if you have... It's nice because you can pay 3, and you can strategically plan if you want to reveal 1 or 2 Luxem cards and get those triggers and then repeat this turn after turn. Or you can just load them up, get a whole bunch of triggers going, transform this, and then, you know, if you have a duplicate copy, they can still reveal those cards on later turns. Or if you have the combo enabled, you don't even need this anymore to reveal cards in your memory. I have 4 Felicitous Flock. It has Intercept, Element bonus, Class bonus. Whenever you reveal Felicitous Flock from your memory, summon a Fledgling token with a buff counter on it. It gains Intercept until end of turn. This is a very nice card. This is one of the key cards in your deck. Very important that you run 4 of these. Very important that you have them. Lumen Borealis, the most important card in your deck. So this is a Fantasia. On enter, you may reveal a card from your memory. Class bonus, animal allies you control get +1 attack and +1 life. Whenever an animal ally you control dies, you may reveal a card from your memory. This is literally the most important card in your deck, and it is the foundation of your combo. So I will explain more in detail how this card works. And the last 4 cards in your deck are Luxem Sight. So element bonus, whenever you reveal this card from your memory, recover 3. You could use this card to draw a card, but I advise you to just keep this for the recover 3. I guess you could end up wanting to draw a card if you already have duplicate Luxem Sights in hand, but I would just keep this like 90% of the time unused. So you can just put this into your memory, and then you can recover 3 when you reveal it. But let's go over the combo, finally. So all of the allies in your deck are animal allies. These fate-bound objects will transform into beast allies, so they do not help you with your combo. But the point of the deck for having animal allies is because of Lumen Borealis. So on enter, you get to reveal a card from your memory, which is nice. You can reveal, for example, Felicitous Flock to summon a Fledgling token with Intercept until end of turn. Or you can reveal Peacock of Prosperity to play it out and then draw a card into memory. Or you can reveal Luxem Sight so you can recover 3. So you have those 3 cards that you would want to reveal. So you can either draw a card into memory, summon a Fledgling token of Intercept, or recover 3. So you have 3 options to basically choose from. But what is really nice, even more nicer than the class bonus, the class bonus is nice, but what is really nice is whenever an animal ally you control dies, you may reveal a card from your memory. So now you are starting to see why I'm using Decompose and also Primeval Ritual, because these cards are cards that you want to use for the purpose of sacrificing your own ally to let it die, and then Lumen Borealis will let you reveal a card from your memory. So that sounds neat and all, but how do you create the Fledgling Army token? So Lumen Borealis, if you have 1 out, and then one of your animal allies die, you can reveal Felicitous Flock, get 1 Fledgling token with Intercept out, which is nice. Because even with just 1 on field, once one of your animals die, you get a Felicitous Flock, you get a Fledgling token. Let's see what the Fledgling token is. So it's a 0/1 animal So this would be a +1/+1, so it would be a 1/2 with intercept. So now, even if you just only have the one Lumen Borealis and you have the one Felicitous Flock in your memory, you get this 1/2 intercept Fledgling. So now your opponent can't really attack you again. Because if they attack your champion, you can just intercept with this Fledgling token. It will then die. And then once it dies, then you get another Fledgling token. Because an animal died, you get to trigger Lumen Borealis to reveal the Felicitous Flock again. So you can wall your opponent out with only one Lumen Borealis if they are only attacking you and they have no other method of damaging you, like spells. But even if they have spells, that's why you use Fated Keepsake. So then that, even if they try to fireball you for lethal, or if they try to hit you with a gigantic swing for 20, 30 damage, this thing will stop it. It will mitigate all but 6 of the damage. So, okay, cool. So you have Lumen Borealis. You have Felicitous Flock. You can generate, basically, you can make one Fledgling token of intercept once your animal dies. But how does this help you? Now, let's say you have 2 Lumen Borealises, okay? And then one of your allies die. Then you would reveal Felicitous Flock, get 2 Fledgling tokens. Okay, so one ally died. You get 2 allies in place. So they are 1/2 Fledgling tokens with intercept before considering the class bonus. So realistically, they are 3/4 Fledgling tokens with intercept. You get 2 of those. Now, what if you have 3? Or what if you have 4 Lumen Borealises? So even at 4, all of your animal allies get +4/+4. And whenever an animal ally you control dies, you get to reveal a card from your memory. So these are 4 separate triggers. So let's say one of your animal allies die. And then you reveal Felicitous Flock for the first trigger. You summon a Fledgling token. Second trigger, another Fledgling token. Third trigger, another Fledgling token. Fourth trigger, another Fledgling token. So basically, you can summon as many Fledgling tokens as you have Lumen Borealises out. And they are all +1/+1 for each Lumen Borealis. So, and they get +1/+1 buff. They get a buff counter, and they have intercept. So the first turn, or not the first turn, but when you have just one Lumen Borealis out, you will get 1, 2, 3 Fledgling with intercept. When you have 2, you'll get 2, 3, 4 Fledglings with intercept. When you get 3, you get 3, 4, 5 Fledgling tokens with intercept. And when you have 4 Lumen Borealises out, you get 4, 5, 6 Fledgling tokens with intercept. So even then, it's going to be hard for your opponent to get rid of your Fledglings because, okay, it has intercept. So they can't really attack your champion because they realize if they kill the Fledgling token, it will die, and then you'll get 4 more or however many instances of Lumen Borealis triggers. So then you can summon more and more Fledglings. Now, your opponent is now at this point, they're like, well, I can't really attack the champion because the Fledglings have intercept. What if I try to go for any of their other allies? This is important because all of your other allies are also animals. So if they try to kill your baby green slime, boom, you get the triggers. If they try to kill Peacock of Prosperity, boom, you get the triggers. So basically, anything that they try to attack, they will hit something. If it dies, you get the triggers. This is also why you have Intercept and Taunt allies in your deck. So Dreamy Unicorn, Fluffy Shopkeep, they both have Intercept. So before you get like the whole army of Fledgling tokens, or even if you do have Fledgling tokens, they only have Intercept on the turn that they come out. So let's say they have Fledgling tokens, but they no longer have Intercept. But you have Dreamy Unicorn or Fluffy Shopkeep. Your opponent attacks into your champion. You get to Intercept, and then you get, if it dies, then you get to summon some more Fledglings, provided that you've done the proper setup Basically, every turn that you're playing this, you want to play any card to put at least one Felicitous Flock into memory. That is basically what you need to do to keep the engine going. But if you have Dreamy Unicorn, Fluffy Shopkeep, they attack into you, boom, you get some more fledglings. If they attack into, any of your animals, okay, I guess they die, but then you get more fledglings. Sunblessed Gazelle and Bedivere have Taunt, so they also form a redirect shield. So your opponent can't really attack you. So you aren't really taking damage aside from like spell damage. But even if it's spell damage, then you do have Fated Keepsake, which will mitigate all but 6 of that damage. And if you do accrue damage, you can also just heal with Luxem Sight. Like if you have 4 Lumen Borealis triggers, you don't have to use all 4 on Felicitous Flock. You could use some on Luxem Sight if you wanted some healing. But realistically, once you get a whole bunch of fledglings out, then you are good. You can hit them for a whole bunch of damage. I think it was... these fledglings can go up to 5-6 if you have 4 Lumen Borealises out. So if you have, like 8 fledglings, 12 fledglings, you can pretty easily go for game. But this is also why you have Decompose and Primeval Ritual. If your opponent is deciding, oh, you know what, I don't know what to do. I don't want to attack anything. I don't want to kill anything. Killing something in this moment would just trigger Lumen Borealis. I don't want my opponent to get that. So they would just, probably pass turn, or they'll probably set up into some other win con. But this is why you have Decompose and Primeval Ritual. So if your opponent does not kill your own allies, you have these cards to kill your own allies. And it sounds kind of silly, but if you have like 1 or 2 Lumen Borealises out, you pay 3 to sacrifice, one of your fledglings or any of your other animals, then basically think about it as 3 costs to get out fledglings with intercept at fast speed and with buff counters on them, and +1/+1 for each Lumen Borealis that you have out, and an additional copy for each Lumen Borealis that you have out. So yeah, this is really, really good. So yeah, Baby Green Slime to really suppress things, such as Forest Cake for the extra draw, Fate Stone of Progress if you want the quest counter, Fate Stone of Heaven, which is a really good target, so they can destroy target non-champion object with memory cost 1 or less, or reserve cost 5 or less, or even the Fated Keepsake, so you can draw a card. But this card can give you quest counter, destroy something, draw a card, draw a card. This will help you to cycle through, helping you to find the combo pieces that you need. Specifically, Lumen Borealis. This is the most important card in your deck. Luminous Slime to put some early pressure on your opponent, as well as to destroy their allies before they keep aggroing you. Dreamy Unicorn, Fluffy Shopkeep, Sunblessed Gazelle, Bedivere, they all serve to redirect attacks. So if your opponent is trying to attack into you, these things will help you to redirect their attacks. Your champion will not take damage because they're redirecting the attacks. These will hopefully die, and then when they die, they trigger Lumen Borealis to give you more fledglings. Forest Cake, just a good card to draw. Fate Stone of Progress, primarily because it's a Fate Stone card, I just run it, so then it will help you with your Fated Keepsake Fate Stone count. Decompose, Primeval Ritual, primarily as sacrifice, ally sacrifice cards, so you can sacrifice your own allies if your opponent is not, they don't want to attack into your allies. So these cards will help you to actually build the board of fledgling tokens if your opponent is choosing not to attack into you or doing any attacks at all. Fate Stone of Heaven, really good card for removal, but also it adds to the Fate Stone count for Fated Keepsake. This card also can help you to turn after turn reveal Felicity's Flock, Luxem Sight, or Peacock of Prosperity, so you at least get some cards out. And even for 3 cost, again, just like I forgot, there was something else that was 3 cost. But even for 3 costs, you can reveal like the Felicity's Flock. Even if you reveal 2 of them, you get 2 Felicity's Flock tokens, and that is really nice. Lumen Borealis, if you have that in play, it will buff up those tokens. So that is just a really nice way to reveal your cards turn after turn. If you do not have the other combo pieces in play. Felicity's Flock, really good. You don't ever want to really play this. You always want to have at least 1 copy in your memory for the Lumen Borealis trigger. But yeah, you always want to keep this in hand, eventually into your memory, so you get the triggers. Lumen Borealis, the most important card in this deck. That's why you're playing Luxora's map. So then it is not an understatement that the more Lumen Borealises that you have out, the more advantage that you have in this deck. So Luxora's map, even if you have 3 Lumen Borealises out, you know what? Cool, a 4th Lumen Borealis would be helpful. Or if you have 1 Lumen Borealis out, you know what? A second one would be helpful. But this card is always helpful for drawing Lumen Borealises. Luxem Sight, pretty explanatory. This will help you to recover 3. But again, I would say that the most important card in this deck is Lumen Borealis. Second most important card, Felicity's Flock, because technically you get more value out of having more Lumen Borealises. You only really need 1 or 2 Felicity's Flock, and the value would be roughly the same. It's this card that has the trigger that will reveal your cards over and over again. So you really want to stack these up. You could just get by with, a game where you only have 1 Felicity's Flock or 2 Felicity's Flocks. So these are not the most important card, but they are the second most important card. Luxem Sight is nice. It helps you recover 3 if you have taken considerable damage in the game. But it's not like one of the main combo pieces. These 2 cards specifically are the main combo pieces. This card is nice for removal. These cards are the combo enablers, so you can sacrifice allies as needed if your opponent is not attacking. But it is also important to note that the sacrifice is at fast speed. So you can use it during your opponent's turn or as they are about to end their turn. But if they are, for example, attacking into your champion, then you can, in response, sacrifice an ally, get out the Felicity's Flock token, get out the Fletchling token with intercept, and then intercept the attack. I believe that is correct in my understanding of how the mechanics work. But yeah, these cards are just generally good, but they are not fully necessary for the game plan. These 4 cards are very good at intercepting and or taunting your opponent. This gives you card draw. This provides you with a Fate Stone item in play. These are combo enablers. This is also a Fate Stone item in play. And then these 2 are the most important cards in your deck. These give you Fletchling tokens. These give you more Fletchling tokens over and over again, basically. And also buffs your animals. And then this helps you recover 3 as needed. Now let's look at my sideboard. If you picked up the Arisana starter deck, then you will have like this really cool looking die that has like all of the herbs. So that's why I am running these surprise tokens. So I have the Power Cell, I have the Blight Root, I have the Mana Root, the Silver Shine, the Freesia, the Razor Vine, and the Springleaf. So these are all really good cards. or like not really good cards, but they're just like the tokens that could be generated from Decompose and also the backup charger. The starter deck also gives you this cool little foldable card. So it shows you the different herbs that you can get. So you could use like a regular die, and then this will just help you to keep track of which herb you get. Or you can just use a special die. Okay, and then now here is my sideboard. 4 copies of Thieving Cut. So let's say that you're playing against a very aggressive deck. They're trying to aggro you down. So Limitless Slime does help with that against aggro because you can just attack their allies. But, you know, Thieving Cut gives you an extra boost in attacking into their allies as well. This is also a really nice card because if you do happen to get a preparation counter because of Dreamy Unicorn, you do get an extra draw from Thieving Cut if you prepare it. So this is primarily in the deck for the purposes of dwindling down their allies if they are playing a very ally aggressive build and they're trying to attack into you over and over again. But if you have Thieving Cut, you can get rid of their ally, and you also get to draw a card, provided you have the preparation counter. So the preparation counter is like kind of like a bonus. It's not very likely to happen because you only have the 4 Dreamy Unicorns and they need to die to give you the prep counter. But if you do have the prep counter, you get to draw a card. So it's like a neat little bonus that you could possibly draw a card. But mainly this is here so then you can get rid of allies pretty early. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Revealing Mesmer. So this deck is really based on Lumen Borealis. Lumen Borealis is very essential for this deck. So if your opponent is trying to get rid of Lumen Borealis, that is really bad for you. There are not a lot of Fantasia hate cards, but there are some, and there are also cards that do not really care about card type so much as reserve cost. For example, Fate Stone of Heaven. Destroy target non-champion object with memory cost 1 or less or reserve cost 5 or less. So this destroys any non-champion object with reserve cost 5 or less. There are cards like that that can just get rid of your 3 cost Fantasia. So although there are not many Fantasia hate cards, there are cards that do allow the destruction of cards under a specific reserve cost. But this is a really nice card to have if your opponent has any cards that can really destroy Lumen Borealis. So it is a 3 cost Fantasia. For 2, and resting this, each champion loses Spell Shroud until end of turn. For 2 and resting this, change the target of an activation or trigger that targets a Fantasia you control to Revealing Mesmer. So this basically will change the target that would destroy Lumen Borealis to Revealing Mesmer. So, you know, this is a nice card to have in case your opponent is running some kind of destruction card. Any destruction card, really, that can get rid of Lumen Borealis. You don't really want this in your main deck because the chances of that isn't too likely, especially in Game 1 where they have no idea what you're doing. But Game 2, once they do figure it out, maybe Game 3, if they do have some destruction cards, this is a really nice card to have. So then you can prevent your Lumen Borealises from being destroyed. Baby Silver Slime. So, as long as you control another slime ally, Baby Silver Slime has taunt. On death, you may reveal a slime card from your hand or memory if you do draw a card. So if you needed some extra taunt, then I would suggest removing Peacock of Prosperity. It's not really needed in the deck. You could also alternatively remove some copies of Decompose or Fate Stone of Progress. They are also not really needed in the deck. But yeah, if you have a baby green slime or a limited slime or another baby silver slime, then this card has taunt. It is also an animal on death. If you reveal a slime card from your hand or memory, then you draw a card. So this is nice in case you do want that extra taunt ally. You could possibly draw a card. It's not too likely, but it is, you know, a possibility. And you also have Incandescent Reliquary. Class bonus, this card costs 1 less to materialize. At the beginning of your recollection phase, if you are the player with the least influence, draw a card. I do not suspect that this will come up often, but if your opponent is playing, for example, a deck that draws a whole bunch of cards, then you by default have less influence than they do. Or if you're playing against a deck that is going long, then this card could be helpful. But this isn't really a main material deck card. This is like a sideboard card, because this could come up, but it's not too important even if it does come up. But you know what? It could come up. So I'm just putting this in the sideboard for now. So this could help you in very long games. This could help you with getting an extra taunt ally. This is important for redirecting destruction effects targeting Lumen Borealis. And then this is nice for getting rid of early aggro attackers and possibly drawing you a card. But that's my sideboard. This is the main deck. And in case you do end up transforming your Fatestone Regalia, you do need to have Arcane Blast, and with generated card ruling, they have to be in the same card sleeve as your main deck card. So it is very important to note that while you don't really rely on transforming the fabled Azurite Fatestone to win the game, you could transform it. But if you do transform it, you do need some Arcane Blasts in the same sleeves as your main deck. But let's go over this. Efficiency. It has efficiency. It's 11 cost. Deal 11 damage to target champion. So realistically, you only need maybe the 3. You if you want to be super safe, you could just get a few more copies. But I think the 3 is enough for this deck specifically, especially since I'm not relying on Arcane Blast as a win con. But yeah, I am playing with a whole army of fledgling tokens. I am that insane person who bought a whole bunch on TCG Player. So I am just playing a whole bunch of fledgling tokens. I have about 28 fledgling tokens so far. You could get a whole bunch of fledglings if you want to, but technically they are tokens, so they can be represented by anything. If you don't want to pick up a whole bunch of fledgling tokens and you play some other card game like Pokemon, you can use energy cards and like just write 0, 1, animal, 0 cost, and then just write the important stuff that you need on those cards. Or you could use backwards facing cards, like if you have Grand Archive cards, you just put them backwards to represent that they are fledglings. But you can represent tokens with anything real, basically. But it's just nice for me to have like actual fledgling tokens. But if you do not want to pick up like 30 fledgling tokens, you can just use anything to denote them. But yeah, this is my deck profile video for the Guo Jia Animal Board Control deck, or Guo Jia Fledgling Spam deck. But yeah, it is pretty nice. Again, the Fatestone Regalia is for you to cycle through your deck. Primarily, you want to find Lumen Borealis. You want to find at least 1 copy of Felicitas Flock, 2 copies if you can. Same thing for Luxemsite, you only really need 1 or 2. The extra dupes for Luxemsite and Felicitas Flock you could keep in hand, or you can just put them down into memory. Basically, you want to fill your memory with cards that you don't really care for, so you can cycle through them. So that's why there is a lot of redundancy in this deck. So, for example, you have 4 allies with Intercept or Taunt. So that is 16 cards with Intercept or Taunt. That is a lot of redundancy. You don't really need all 16. It is really nice that you find them when you need them, but you can just put them into memory to play other cards. End of turn, Fabled Azurite Fatestone can get rid of those cards. You can get rid of Limit Slime if you want to. Peacock of Prosperity, Baby Green Slime. These cards are not too essential. You can get rid of basically any dupes that you have that you don't really need. But you do want to always have Lumen Borealis. You never really want to put this in memory because you might banish it with Fabled Azurite Fatestone. And that is a big no-no for this deck. You want to have as many of these in play as possible. But yeah, these are the most important cards in the deck. You will find them via cycling, via draw power, via searching with Luxor's map. But yeah, there is so much in this deck. It is built primarily to find Lumen Borealis and to generate a bunch of Felicitas Flock tokens and basically wall out your opponent, get an Intercept ally at fast speed, and also once you do have enough fledgling tokens, you can just attack them for game. But yeah, this is the deck profile video. I hope that you liked it. I do also have a slime version of Guo Jia, which does similar things, but I would say that this is the more competitive version. So I wanted to make this deck profile video first, but I will make the slime version deck profile video soon afterwards. Yeah, thanks for watching.